with Cymbalistic Cynicism as part of the Indie Escape network. And today our guest is director, writer, and producer and actor, Marcus Slabine. How are you, Marcus?
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing?
Tired, not retired, but that's the way it should be. Um, I mean, for most of us. Anyway, so, by the way, as long as I've known you, and I've known you for a while, you always love to wear glasses, no matter what, like those stylish sun visor, whatever you want to call them, RoboCop style, whatever shade they are,
Yeah,
glasses, no matter
these
what
ones
time
are
of
red.
day.
I have
Yeah,
many colors
you have
actually.
blue, you have clear, you have black, all the above.
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually there's a number of things I have to bring up to you, but I was just watching the Dark Offerings. I did not finish it yet, but I have to say, and now this I spotted somebody, and now let me give everybody a background. I met Marcus at the New York City Horror Film Festival in Manhattan, and I think we officially really got to know each other at the Abnormal Attraction premiere, which Michael and Jason, Michael directed, Michael Levy from
Yeah.
Staten Island directed, and Jason also, or he produced. Jason produced,
I
or
think they
and
all produced it,
they all
but
produced it.
and then they all I know Michael directed, Steve Delasala, he shot it and
Right.
also produced it, and Jason played the amazing Finbar.
Yes. And Jason is very much like Jim Carrey or one of those character actors. He's Adam Sandler, like he puts himself in a lot of unique roles. But I was watching your movie Dark Offerings and I'm like, that has to be Jason because he's like what he's comes off as a real douchebag. Like and his character, like all he's doing is smoking weed and insulting everybody, either individually or simultaneously. Because Dark Offerings, you basically shot completely. Tell us a little bit about Dark Offerings.
So Dark
First, I'm gonna
Offerings we
get there.
shot 100% during during the pandemic. Literally it was one of the first films to actually be shooting during the pandemic because the pandemic happened in March. The script was written in April, and we started shooting end of April into May and June. So we were literally the first ones up. In fact, we also
Of 2020, you said, right?
yes of 2020, and it's actually funny because two of the actors to this day still have never met in person, and which is really funny. But Clifton Dunn, who plays Jeff, and Paul Sheehan, who plays Connor McLeod, have never actually physically met in person, despite the fact that they did an entire feature film together.
Yeah, and you did the whole thing is like an unfriended structure.
Yes.
Like all via social like Zoom, a Zoom type like this, like StreamYard.
Yeah.
But like a very similar and it played out I mean, I didn't finish it, but it's playing out really well because it jumps right into the horror and then gets a subtle a long sequence, then jumps right back into the horror. But even during that, you're like, where was that taking place? What is this chronological? Is it not? So I like the sort of structure, like it, which like sort of like Saw, and I love Saw. It's like it's not exactly in told in chronological order. It's it's non-linear.
Yes.
But basically, Jason Levy from Abnormal Attraction, he plays this like that friend that nobody wants to invite to their party.
Yeah.
That is like who invited this guy? Like who invited him? Like you lost my invite in the mail, you fucker. He's like nobody want. But like when he said something about Staten Island, I'm like, yep, that's Jason. That's Jason. Like I like yeah, like is he looks like Jason. He looks like he's Jason, and just has a hat on. And he's smoking, and no, he said Staten Island. That's Jason. But yeah, and can I say the name of the doctor? I don't want to give any
Totally. Go
spoilers
for it. That,
because
yeah.
I'm in. Like I literally heard it like 5 minutes ago. Like this is intriguing. It gave it me like Fright Night vibes.
Oh well, that's
That's the style. So
exactly.
I'm
Yeah,
really
right.
like that. Like wow, this is really
Yeah.
not the route I thought it was gonna go. So
Yeah,
I love
there's a
that
lot of like little like nods in there with like some of the character names are very referential.
yeah,
I think that's a word. But
it's fine. You can make up words here.
yeah, perfect. I love it.
Yeah, Peter Griffin does it all the time.
I love it. But I mean, Michael Levy plays Peter Vincent Jr., which is obviously
Oh wow, I didn't
based
get
off
there
of
yet.
the character of Peter Vincent from
Yeah,
the original 1985 Fright Night.
yeah, that's great. I love that. It's like it's not just a nod, it's an homage Easter egg.
Yeah.
What's it called? But and I know, of course, I'm gonna name drop because Damien did say something a little earlier this afternoon. Damien did say you have to tell that Dark Knight Rises PA story every time you're interviewed. So I'm gonna put you on the spot, and I'm sorry, Damien, in advance. I'm gonna piss you off that you have to hear this for the 10,000th and first time, if you're on here yet. But please, Marcus, so you were a PA on for how long? And tell us a little bit about when you worked. I'm going to lead up to your films, but I'm going to try to go linear, but not completely linear.
Oh, you're
I might
totally
jump
fine.
around in time.
So basically, I worked 2 days on The Dark Knight Rises. I worked on it on the Wall Street unit, which so basically the whole ending when I guess we can spoil it. The movie's what, like 10 years old now at least.
Oh yeah, 2012. Yeah.
Holy shit, it's 10 years old. Wow, that's
Mhm.
crazy. That's wow.
Yeah.
So basically, I did 2 days, but it was the Wall Street unit. So the whole ending of the movie, when Bane comes out with his army and and Batman and him are, and they're fighting,
And then it snows in the middle of it all.
exactly. And so we were down there for that unit. But there's a couple of funny stories. One of them is Occupy Wall Street was actually going on, and we had to like prevent them
Right,
from
that was
coming in. But they
2011 and
didn't
12,
believe
right?
that they were shooting a movie. All they saw was like all these people, like screaming and and jeering and cheering and all this stuff, and they thought that like the police are just like, no, this isn't Occupy Wall Street, because we weren't allowed to tell anyone the name of the movie, so we had to call it Magnus Rex, about a Tyrannosaurus Rex that wears a tie. It was crazy, but no, but my big story really and truly is, I guess, from it is one of the days I wore a Marvel shirt.
Oh God.
And I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, and I kind of snuck up because I wanted to see Bane and Batman, and the movie kind of got ruined for me because Bane's supposed to be like giant, and and I see Christian Bale in the Batman suit, and he looks fucking awesome, and he's like 6 foot something, and I see Tom Hardy, and he comes in, and he's like 5'7", 5'9".
He's my height. Wow.
Yeah, and he gets up on like a bunch of apple boxes to reach the height, and I was like, all right, well, there goes that movie for me. But
Stallone is like shorter than me and us.
Really,
Stallone and Snipes. Ron Perlman is not too much taller than me, and I'm sure you met Danny Trejo. Have you met him? He's short.
Danny's short. He's a sweetheart.
Since I was 18. Oh yeah, when I was 18, he was even shorter than me. Like we were the same height back then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Sylvester Stallone, like he's always had that him and Wesley Snipes.
That's crazy.
Very short.
Wesley Snipes. Or
what?
Stallone. I never pictured
Stallone
being short.
100%. That I didn't mean to ruin it for you like Tom Hardy did when he was short. Not that he intended to do it that way, but yeah. Listen, that's what happens when you're on the set. You're learning, but you're also getting like your childhood murdered.
Yeah. So what ended up happening was I'm standing there with that Marvel shirt, and it had like at the time it was Captain America. It was like, it's this one with just all their faces on it, and I get a tap on the shoulder, and I turn around, and it's Christopher fucking Nolan, and he just looks me up and down. He looks at my shirt, and he just goes, "That's an interesting shirt, kid." And I'm like shitting my pants. I am like terrified. I'm like, and I'm an idiot also. So I'm just like, fuck it. Marvel trumps DC hands down. And he just takes a step back, and he just looks me in the eye. He just goes, "You got balls, kid." And I went, "You're damn right." And I'm running away from him, figure out my name. And I bolted, and I hid in the crowd in the back of like thousands of extras and all that shit. And
wow,
anywhere closer. But yeah, so that's my big claim to fame with The Dark Knight Rises.
Well, if any consolation, I agree with you. I like DC, but only very nitpicking, and I don't nitpick, but like Batman is like one of the only things from DC I really truly love.
I like some of their newer ones.
Yeah, just like the Zack Snyder cut. I know you and I aren't always on the same.
No, I know. I know. I'm probably.
What did you like from
this,
DC?
But I couldn't even make it through that. That's
really
could not. But,
not the Whedon cut, the Snyder cut you're talking about.
Right? Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. But
But
I did
yeah.
love the James Gunn one, the Suicide Squad.
Oh, okay.
That
Yes, yes,
Wonder
100%.
Woman was great. And the new Batman, I fucking loved. I absolutely loved it. I think it's to me, I thought it was incredible. Like it was
Right.
just, it was a Batman noir. Like it was dark, it was moody. If for the first 2 minutes of seeing Robert Pattinson, I was like, oh come on, this isn't
He's
gonna
great.
work.
Yeah.
And he's
Oh, really?
amazing in it.
He
He's like,
is.
I love the fact that he's just like antisocial. He's just like a different Batman. I absolutely loved it. And also somehow they turned Colin
Was an
Farrell
introvert? He's like an
into like
introvert.
a fat, like a fat 40-year-old Robert De Niro. I don't know how they
Yes.
did it. It's
Yes.
amazing. I fucking loved it. It's also what I would call a theatrical film. It is a movie you should see in the theater.
Unfortunately, I didn't. Unfortunately, I didn't get to.
Oh,
But I did.
they'll screen it again. You
I'm
gotta go
sure.
see it. Yeah, it's
I
like
actually.
Mandy.
What? It's like.
It's like the Nicolas Cage movie Mandy. Like,
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Josh. Yeah. Spectrovision. Yeah.
yeah,
Um.
Mandy's incredible in the theater.
Yeah.
It's one of those films that like
I would
anytime.
watch that in theaters if it was released in theaters again. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
they'll do like some reunion type of thing, and Josh or I know he's no longer involved in Spectrovision, but Josh Waller and Elijah Wood, if they did, I would go. Even if they weren't, I would go in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. What's it called? Because you're talking about what was it called? You mentioned Batman. Oh, I was going to mention Richard. I thought that was Richard Kind at first, by the way.
yeah, yes. He
At
does give
first
off
I
Richard
thought that was
Kind
Richard
vibes.
Kind, and I
Yeah,
realized, and then when they said that's Colin Farrell, like I was blown away.
yeah.
Like
Oh
Danny
yeah,
DeVito, it's Danny DeVito, but Colin Farrell. And when you look at the before and after special effects process, you
it's
do see it
uncanny.
more.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
uncanny. It's
the casting was great. I'll be honest, I wasn't the biggest fan. I thought it was beautiful. I
yeah.
thought it was shot beautifully. I thought it was so dark at such a beautiful level. It felt like horror movies. The guy who played the Riddler, I absolutely loved. I always liked him,
Oh,
whether it
Paul
be a funny
Dano. Oh
character,
my
yeah,
god.
whether it be a funny character in Girl Next Door, or a villain in Taking Lives, or in Prisoners with Jake Gyllenhaal
Yep.
and Hugh Jackman, but he does a great villain.
Oh,
He's
he
just,
really
and I
does.
love how they were able to bring so much villainy into one film, like sort of like I don't know if you ever watched Penny Dreadful. Penny Dreadful.
Oh no, it's definitely on my list.
Yeah, so you'll watch it, I'm like, and you'd be like, how could they possibly do like it's like a League of Extraordinary Gentlemen? How could they possibly take all these horror cons and bring them into one storyline? And
Yeah.
it became one of my it became one of my favorite TV shows of all time because it's just so you'll see the Batman. It's like it has that very dark
Yeah.
London from hell style, from hell with the Johnny Depp movie with
Yes.
You Brothers. It has that very dark London feel. So it felt like that, like it felt like a comic book, a horror movie, but like a Victorian modern tale. The Batman, like Victorian modern tale, because it was so beautiful. Like the from the Wayne Mansion, it's just so beautiful, so beautifully dark, you
Oh, I
know.
love it. Yeah.
But I actually wanted to say because we're talking about like bringing in old characters, but like you are working on a film that I believe you wrote, produced, and directed that brings in some iconic characters from an old iconic horror movie, but uses the name of another one. And who likes horror doesn't love George A. Romero? And you and I, though we don't always agree on a lot of our, like critiques, we both grew up with loving the same George Romero film as our favorite, Day of the Dead. And
Yes.
you are helming what film and what films is it a sequel to exactly? Because I also wanted to ask you that because the
So
name versus the character, in addition to the characters you're bringing in.
yeah. So it's Night of the Living Dead 2. And this is technically a sequel to Night of the Living Dead. But it's going to be like, obviously the real sequels are, the sequels are already Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. There's already sequels, but with this one is its own story that takes place in the same universe, really and truly, which is basically like, it's a sequel the same way as Dawn is a sequel to Night or Day is a sequel to Dawn, where it's its own story, but these characters, it's all new characters, it's all new story, and we are reuniting Laurie, Terry, and Jarlath from Day of the Dead, the 3 survivors from Day of the Dead, in this film for the first time in 36 years. And it's such an incredible experience to just see the 3 of them together. It's magical. You know what I mean? Like they had such amazing chemistry all together on Day of the Dead, and Day of the Dead is easily, in your opinion, it's one of my favorite zombie films, but it's also one of my favorite Romero films. I think it's one of the. I think the political commentary, I think the performances, I think the story, I think it's some of Tom Savini's best work.
Yes, yes, that special effects
they're incredible. Even with today's standards and what they're able to do now, there's still things in there that just blow my mind.
The deaths, not even when the zombie leans over on the like that scene alone. I mean,
and all the guts fall out and everything.
Yeah, like he breaks the shackle, and the scenes when they tear apart the soldiers, just like did they actually have, like, you're watching it, like, it looks like it's sort of like Cannibal Holocaust to this point that, like, there's like it feels like there's no transition. You're just watching it happen from the time they grab them but like there really is, like, oh, they cut and there's another angle, but like you almost don't notice it because you're so fixated. You're so fixated. Hold on, our mutual friend Brandon Brooks says, "How's it going?" Like I said, tired, not retired. You know Brandon. Like we hung out at Monsamania. And Joe Ridgely. Oh, here. So this is our buddy Joe Ridgely who put together the network. I just want to post this little thing up there. Yes, we're on TikTok now. Marcus, I have Tourette syndrome, so I never would have used TikTok because I have tics and I talk a lot. And now, just for the sake of the network, I have gotten TikTok and I am addicted. So just a side note.
You still gotta do your pun book. Like I keep telling you, you gotta start writing them all down, dude.
If they were mine, I would. I have other books I gotta write because you always tell me about the Saw-isms. Mark Rawlson from Sawshank Redemption told me I should write my book of Saw words, and he told me you should get illustrator, publish it at Barnes & Nobles. That was back when Barnes & Nobles was actually still around.
Yeah.
Call my thesaurus or my encyclopedia. But what's it called? I want to ask about the characters in Night of the Living Dead too. Can I ask if they're reprising the Terry and the rest of the cast? Are they reprising the same character role, or are they playing somebody new?
They're playing somebody new.
Really?
Yeah, so okay. This is not a sequel to Day of the Dead.
Oh, it's not. Oh, okay.
No. But this is, but
it's an homage. It's like it's sort of like putting Chris Sarandon in the Fright Night remake, but obviously I like the Fright Night remake, but you don't want to do that. You want to do
no, and I will be 100% clear. These are not. This is not going to be like they're in it for 2 seconds and then they're like, hey, what's up? And then they're off, and it's other characters. There are other characters, but they are the 3 leads. They are the main characters. They are the ones that the story is about. You know, and we've shot a little something because we're still in pre-production, but seeing the 3 of them together, it's nostalgia. They were amazing Day of the Day, but they've only gotten better with age.
Right.
I've worked with Terry on many. I was going to ask,
you worked on a number of films.
Yeah. Terry's a very, very dear friend.
Dark Offerings included.
Yep. Yes, he plays, which is another name cameo.
I guess I didn't catch it.
It's Dr. Mantis Toboggan. If you're an It's Always Sunny fan.
I never got into it, but everybody tells me it's like it.
Danny DeVito has a doctor character that he plays named Dr. Mantis Toboggan. And so Terry's character in Dark Offerings is Mantis Toboggan.
She's like the perfect person to just say it is Danny DeVito. The perfect person to say that name is Danny DeVito.
It totally is. Danny DeVito is easily one of the greatest actors on the planet, and he just
played such a wide array of roles.
What's that?
He played such a wide array of roles.
Oh yeah,
serious and sinister, and then serious like Rainmaker, the Rainmaker, Batman, Matilda. It's like, and then Sunny. Yeah, the Rainmaker. And LA Confidential.
LA Confidential. I mean, the list of his stuff goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
You know.
I think he's also underrated. I think he deserves much more
Oh, he totally
roles.
does. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like even just watching him in It's Always Sunny, you just see the range, especially when they like do like the serious jokes and they really like let him go. It's incredible. Right. You're just like, holy shit, like he's giving this masterful performance, and it's like, you know, it's about him being a frog person or something like that. It's like he's oh my god, I would kill to work with Danny DeVito, even if it is for like a day. I don't care.
I think a friend of ours got the opportunity to work with Al Pacino, but he hated the script, so he turned it down. And like we gave him a lot of credit. I think. Oh, was it you or me? You and Michael, or it was me and Michael, or me and you was talking to a friend of ours who got offered a role working with. Oh, I'm not going to say the name, but
no, it wasn't me.
No, not you, but you. I thought you were with me. I think it was Michael who was with me. We were talking to a friend of ours who was got a role to work with Al Pacino or something, but he turned it down because he said the script was blah, like really bad or something. But he said if it was what's it called, Robert De Niro, he would take it, but not Al, something like that. Hold on. Joe has a question. Curious if the George A. Romero Foundation is involved with this new flick, Night of the Living Dead 2.
I mean, they are aware of it. They, you know, they've. I can't really say if they've put their support or not.
Right.
But they are aware of it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, one of the things is that this is not like a public domain type of deal. You know?
Right.
We're not just taking the name and slapping it on there.
Yeah.
But I mean,
you got the rights and whatever.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, but it's a very, very tricky situation. But
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. So
well, that I know.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. And like, and the other thing is too, is that, you know, we're going to be, you know, it's, we haven't announced anybody else that we've attached or any other thing, you know, we're keeping a lot of stuff very quiet, very
smart.
Yet.
Very smart.
But we've got Laurie, Terry, and Jonathan are not going to be the only Romero-esque people in the film. That's
nice. That's all you can say about that.
I think I have a feeling like my phone's gonna start going off. Or
so you know what? Let's cut you off there. Circumcision or not. Circumcision. Sorry. Marcus. Sorry. Brandon says, Marcus, how was it working with Steve Mina on his Malevolence horror films? Oh, I didn't know you worked on Malevolence.
I worked on Bereavement.
Bereavement, right?
Yeah, that was like the first film I ever worked on.
That was the one with Alexandra Daddario, I believe.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It was her first film. Actually, you know.
Oh yeah. And she was already wearing like a see-through top at that point, and like she just kept going from there.
Yeah, I worked on that one, and I worked on Malevolence 3, which you know, I think came out recently. You know, they were grueling shoots, you know what I mean? Like they were like 20-hour days. They were very, very hard, you know, very hard to work on. But you know, Bereavement was like my first film. So it was like, you know, everyone else was like, you know, miserable. And I was like, oh my God, I'm on a film set. You know, like,
yeah, that makes sense that was her. Right. Sorry. Because remember, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, she was already done a bunch of films. So that makes sense. Yeah. It was before Dark Knight, right? Yeah.
Well, she had also already done
Hall Pass
at that point too. True
Detective and Hall Pass, True Detective and Hall Pass,
and also Percy Jackson.
Yes, that was right. That was before or after Bereavement. I feel like that was before.
Bereavement was the first film, but then it took a while for it to come out. And then
but Percy Jackson, she did afterwards.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because the first film she ever did, that was I believe that was.
She did a risque horror film before she did Percy Jackson. I feel like that would usually give like studios like a little iffy if they put like her in a teen action, you know, like a teen film. You know, it's interesting. You never know. Yeah. Listen, they've had stars going to porn and porn stars going to films, and you never even realize. You know. Yeah. What's her name from White Chicks?
Porn.
What?
Stallone was in porn.
Yes. Oh yeah, true. What's her name was in White Chicks, and then she went into porn, and then there was I know Angelina Armani. She went but I met her when she was already engaged to Robert Hall, doing Laid to Rest 2, and and then Fear Clinic came a little afterwards,
which Michael worked on.
Yes, and
did.
well, no, this is not the web series. Michael was in the web series. He played the young Andover, but she was in, I think, the movie. I don't know if I never watched the web series. I really should,
Yeah.
especially since I have Michael on next week. So I need to watch the web series. But I remember Michael said he was in the movie, but I think they cut it. But he did shoot something for the movie, or maybe they were going to do flashbacks. Hold on. Joe says he used to work with George A. Romero Jr.
Oh, nice,
Yeah, he
nice.
used to. Yeah,
I've chatted a little bit with George. He's
yeah,
actually a really sweet guy to talk to.
yeah. Hold on here, and then Brandon says, Marcus, what was the comedy that sounds interesting? What was the comedy that sounds interesting you did earlier in your career called Let's Make a Movie?
Oh, wow, wow.
Brandon's very well.
That's really that was so that's actually really funny. So that was like one of the first films I really did out of film school. That was like an indie film, and I was brought on as the gaffer on it, and then it was really funny. I also ended up playing so basically the movie is about people making a movie that have never made a movie before, making kind of like
That's great. I've
really
seen
over
something
the
like
top, cheesy B like lizard people's movie.
that. It
And
sounds like Brutal Massacre a little bit too, like
yes, very much so.
before Brutal
Yes,
Massacre.
yes. And I'll never forget. I can't remember if the guy that was supposed to play the sound guy was there, or he didn't come, or he bailed, or what the story was. But they looked at me and they're like, you know what? You look homeless. And I'm like, oh, fuck you. And they're like, do you want to play the homeless sound guy? And then all of a sudden I'm playing the sound guy that is like they hire a homeless guy to come in, and they the makeup artist, Barry Berger was his name, the sweetheart of an old man. I love this guy. He put all this I forget what it was, but that the shit that you put on the teeth to black your teeth out. So like my teeth looked all rotted, and they just dressed me up. I mean, it was great, and I had like a cigarette.
So you got one role, and then they put you in another role, or you got a crew role, and then they cast you.
Yes, 100%.
And they were both sound or like gaffer. You were
no, I was the gaffer. I was
you
the
was
gaffer,
the gaffer, right,
and then I'd hold like the mic and like but
right.
it'd be like a Radio Shack mic duct taped to like a broomstick, and I'd be sticking it in the actors' faces and everything. Oh, it was
really low budget.
Yeah, no, it was really low budget, but like who was
It was fun.
The woman that wrote it was Lana A. Mugden, who's written like a bunch of books now, like
Really?
dragon books. Yeah, she's really done like a lot of stuff now. She's but you know, it was a fun film. I enjoyed working on it. You know, I enjoyed acting in it. Not that I'm really an actor. I'm not a good actor. You know,
me neither.
Yeah, no, look, I can play myself, and apparently a homeless, silent sound guy for a film. But aside from that, you know, yeah, but I haven't even thought about that film in a while. But yeah, no, it was a cool film. Also, one of the actors, I can't think of his name right now, but he went on to be in the Lethal Weapon TV series. He was like
a regular
more guy that was like in every episode that they go, and he'd be like, oh, well, you know, there was this type of you know, residue on the body, and they're like, oh, that's gonna be what it is, poison, you know. But
you never know.
Never know.
I can't act. I can act out or act up. I was in an acting class, and my friend got a lesser grade than me, and another girl in my class was like an actress on Nickelodeon years before, and I still got a higher grade than them. But then it was really intro to acting, whatever. I'm not going to go into it. But my friend, who one of the girls, wound up in Wolf of Wall Street, Mrs. Maisel, the Proposal spinoff. She was also in she's in a number of shows and movies, and it's just like she's on the poster of Wolf of Wall Street. And she was like she's like the head, but when the marching band goes into Leo's office, she's the dancer leading the whole marching band in there.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
So she barely posts on Facebook before the trailer came out or the movie. Like, yeah, I'm just standing like 5 feet away from Leo DiCaprio, and I'm like, what? Like I'm this movie with John Barenthal, and I'm like, wait, what? And then I watch the trailer, and there's my friend in the trailer. I look at the poster, there's my friend, and I turned out to have like 3 friends, and I think you know 2 of them, Ari Barkin and Joe Zazza were both in
oh yeah, nice.
Wolf of Wall Street, yeah. I
Right
met
on.
Ari also at the AA premiere. That doesn't sound right. Abnormal Attraction, because AA gives the wrong.
Yes,
I
yes.
feel like Michael did that on purpose.
Yeah. They actually printed a coin. I have somewhere in my house that's like it's like an AA coin, but it's like
Yeah.
there's abnormal attraction on it. It's really cool.
That should have that should have been one of the posters, the promo posters.
Yeah.
AA.
They actually their original poster was really, really cool too. It was like
Really?
well, it was like it had like all the characters on it and
Oh,
everything.
but they used that one. They used
They
that
did.
poster.
They did.
No, that's still my favorite poster.
Yeah.
Even with the hot topless, near topless zombie, I still like that poster more.
Yeah.
The one
Oh,
with
yeah, no,
everybody
I
in it.
love that poster.
And then again, Michael was the one who was sexually attracted to zombies in that movie. But as much as everybody loves Melanie Iglesias, Finbar is still the best character in that movie. I'm sorry.
Oh, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have any stories from the set of Amazing Spider-Man 2? I actually recently, just a side note, I recently bid on Jamie Foxx's jacket from that movie, but I missed the end of the auction and got outbid.
That
But
shoot was Jesus Christ. That shit was insane.
New York City, I assume, as well.
Oh yeah, it was all
Dark Knight
New York
Rises
City.
was also New York City?
Was it?
Was it? I'm asking you, was Dark Knight Rises also you shot in New York City? They shot
Yeah.
in Makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. Amazing Spider-Man, I did like 2 different jobs on that was just like 2 separate units.
Mhm.
And one of them, it was just like we showed up and they literally said the instant we all showed up, they were just like, hey, so we're not gonna have you. I was like doing set dressing on it, and then they were just like, hey, we're not gonna have you load in, we're not gonna have you do shit. And I was like, why? They're like, because we're getting rained out, but enjoy hanging out. So I literally sat around all day, smoking a lot of weed actually, and
Oy.
we did nothing. And then because it was supposed to be one of the scenes when Rhino Paul Giamatti is coming crashing down the road, but because the roads were wet, they couldn't shoot. So yeah, so I still have never seen the movie. I still have never seen the second one.
Then a consolation, I haven't seen I've seen parts of it. I've seen, but I never saw the full movie. I was always more of the Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland fan, but I remember when they first came out with the Spider-Man, Tom Holland from Fright Night and Chucky says, I'm going to be getting a lot of confusion from people for a while. Like literally, like every time I saw Tom Holland, wait, oh, that's the other Tom Holland. I have to remind myself.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
Tom Holland, and then there's Tom Holland.
Now, that would have been a very interesting Spider-Man. Tom Holland playing Spider-Man. Yeah.
That would have been interesting.
I would have paid to see that. I would have definitely paid to have seen. You know,
he was still above that age when he did Child's Play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about Stream? Because that cast is like getting me hyped up, and I know Michael. I kept on wanting to join the fundraising, but I just had so much going on between my sister's wedding in Israel, and I really wanted to. But like that's really, it looks really exciting with the cast.
Stream is going to be exciting.
Yeah.
I'm like it was one of the coolest projects I think that I've ever been a part of. And one of the best things about it was like we spent 6 weeks in a hotel in Gettysburg making this movie. And I was also the production designer on it. And but it was like every single day we would wake up and there'd be like another horror legend that would be either on set or coming in or just leaving. And it was like
a wet dream. It's a wet dream on Elm Street.
Yeah, exactly. It really was. And it was just, and it was like, it wasn't even just like that the fact that it was the horror fan, the horror icons, but it was also like that team, the whole group, they're all such amazing people. And we all just became one giant family almost instantly. It didn't matter if we went long. It didn't matter, like one of the coolest nights, and I'm going to be vague about this so I don't spoil anything because I know Michael will kill me. There was one night where like we were shooting and we did this giant sequence and it was like, and the night went long. But what ended up happening was they were like, okay, so we're just going to do this prosthetic at the very end. But everyone can either, you guys can hang out, you guys can go to bed, and then we're just going to shoot this with like a skeleton crew. And 3 hours went by, and we're all hanging out, and just messing around and joking and drinking and all this stuff. And then they were like, hey, we're going to go shoot it. And every single person came downstairs. Every single person. No one needed to be there except for like the 2 cameras, and like special effects and like maybe like the gaffer. And that was it. Everyone else could have gone to bed. Nobody went to bed.
They're all team players.
Every single person was down there, and we were all enjoying it and just having a blast. And it was like, I looked around, and to me, I was like, this is like the film family. Like I want to film movies with for the rest of my life. Like it's just, and I can like the film is just, it's packed full of just amazingness. There's great, action sequences. There's great characters. The script is, is super, is really strong. There's a lot of franchise possibilities. It is a really, really cool concept, but even more so is like the cast that they accumulated is just so incredible. And like, I'm beyond stoked to just watch the film, let alone you actually have been part of it, yeah, I mean, I could talk about Stream for days. Like, I just don't know what I can say.
Right. No, not yet. You can't say it yet.
Exactly.
Listen,
That's the problem with making movies is the fact that like all you want to do is talk about the coolest shit that you saw. You're like, oh my God, I saw this fucking head explode or whatever, and then you're like, oh yeah, by the way, we can't say shit for months. In fact, Night of the Living Dead, we were going to do that years ago, like 4 years ago before COVID, and COVID happened and that had to get postponed and all this stuff. So I've been keeping that secret about having the 3 of them back for
good thing you don't have Tourette's like me. I mean, I'm not one of those people that would blurt it out of excitement, like if anything I would curse, but I would keep it. I'm very good at keeping secrets. Not that I'm going to ask you to tell me anything. Like I've had to hold a lot of things from my friends, but I'm not going to ask you but like some people have Tourette's and they're like, if they have one of the symptoms that they say anything that comes to mind, it's illegal. It can be a legal issue if you're working on a film and that's
definitely.
one of the ticks.
And I'm still holding secrets. I'm still holding secrets from all these films. You know what I mean? But which is great. It's great to have.
It's hard to hold in verbal diarrhea.
Yeah, very much. It very much is. I've almost spoiled a couple of things.
So that's why I'll cut you off. I'll cut you off if it seems.
Yeah. No. Exactly. No. That's why I'm like, okay, I can't.
I know also know a mile if we need.
No, we're good with that.
I'm just kidding. I'm just Deborah fucking with you, not Deborah messing. Anyway, but I know you are an actor. You have a role on Terrifier 2, right? Yeah. I know Michael and Jason were involved in the first one. I don't know. I know outside of acting, I don't know. I forgot to what extent, but I know they have a big hand in helming the second one with Damien.
Yeah. They all produced it with Damien and Phil and George, and me. Like, I'm very, very. I'm very, very small role. I play a Sugar Skull bartender in Terrifier 2 in one of the club scenes.
Right.
And I play, I think, a couple of characters in that scene, but I do pop up a lot in that, which is actually really funny. And then I came back on a couple of other days and did stills for them.
So you played more than one role in the movie.
In that scene, I was you'll see me all over that scene. That's
so
all.
It's not exactly like Law and Order where they have the same actor come back to play a different character with the same actor come back to play a different character in a different episode.
Correct.
Literally, it's one big episode, one big movie that you're playing multiple characters. Just no Eddie. You're not putting any Eddie Murphys or Austin Powers or your Mike Myers stuff.
I mean that's overselling it, but yes. but yeah, no. And then I came back on a few days and just did some stills for them and all that. And I, but like it had that same energy of Stream. It's it's like that crew is so tight, and there's
a lot of it is the same crew from the first one.
A lot of it's the same crew from that. It's the same crew on Stream, and it's also the same crew that's going to be on Night of the Living Dead. So it's like we're keeping it all in the family, just because you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And, you know, when you work with your family and you work with friends, you're not really working. You're just having a blast making films. And that translates onto the screen. You know, when you watch a film, and even if it's, you know, whether it's a good film or it's a bad film, it doesn't matter. If you can see that everyone had a blast making it, you feel that energy. You know what I mean? You feel that coming through the scenes. You feel that the cast is having a blast. You feel that the crew's having a blast watching it. It's like, you know, it's to me, whenever I watch an Edgar Wright movie,
Yes.
I can feel that in every single frame. He's also one of my favorite filmmakers.
Last Night in Soho, I absolutely loved.
Fucking fantastic. I think it's going to go down as his most
Memorable,
misunderstood films.
His most misunderstood, or
yeah, because a lot of people were like, "Oh no, I don't know about this." I'm like, "No, this film is absolutely brilliant."
Yeah, I heard I saw somebody in your comments say I hated the third act, but I thought the third act was like
great,
brilliant. It was the best part of it was the best part of the movie.
Oh,
like I did not see that coming, but they set you up for like it's almost their clues to hint it.
Oh, but
you don't get
right. He hints at everything. You look at every one of his films. One of my friends way back home, from Boston and everything. I'll never forget this. It was like 3 a.m. I was up watching movies or writing something on I forget what. And he calls me up. The kid had been doing Adderall all night long, and he had just watched Shaun of the Dead like on loop.
Love that film.
And he just calls me up. He's like, "Hey, dude, I just watched Shaun of the Dead like 4 times back to back. Did you know that almost every single thing that they say in the first half, they repeat in one way or another in the second half?"
And the way they do it is
I'm going to bed. Bye. And he hangs up. And I was like, "Wait, what? What?"
Oh my God.
And then I watched it, and it's true.
It is.
It's such a brilliant.
But dogs can look up. We go to the pub. We go to this. Like, but mom, like because it becomes He's not my dad. You killed my dad. But mom. Oh my! But the lie, like you're right. But it returns in a relevant. It's just like, but it makes it funny.
Oh yeah, it's such a perfect script. You look at Hot Fuzz.
Yes.
Another near perfect script. You know, you look at World's End, which a lot of people don't like, but to me,
I liked it. Yes.
Here's the thing with World's End. World's End, I was going through that same Gary King nostalgia phase. You know, I was.
Oh my God! Yes, Gary King.
Thing. And I was just like, you know, I was missing home. I was like,
you're looking like him right now with the glasses.
Oh God. Yeah, no. I'm definitely not Gary King right now.
I know. You don't have the trench coat, but you do wear trench coats too.
No, I don't.
I know. I guess you wear a jacket. You're very classy.
Yeah. I have like a big coat, but yeah, no. But like that film, like that, I connected to that film to a point that was like amazing. I fucking love World's End. And you know, and then you look at Baby Driver, and I love Baby Driver.
Yes,
you know, but like Baby Driver is one of those films. Okay, so perfect example of how badass Edgar Wright is. The studios refused to let him do. They were like, so you know the scene where he gets out of the car and he's running around and he's being chased the Hocus Pocus after.
Yes.
Okay, so the studio goes, listen, the movie's called Baby Driver. Baby drives the car. Baby can never get out of the car. They're like, we're not having a chase. And they're like, we're not going to. And Edgar Wright's, well, no, this is going to be one of the best scenes in the movie. And the studio goes, well, we're not funding it. He goes, fine, fuck it. He threw down his own money for the 2-day shoot. He paid for that sequence out of his own pocket. And it is arguably one of the best chases in the whole movie. It's brilliant, especially with the music of Hocus Pocus turning around, and he's like running through the fucking mall and all this stuff, and he's swapping out the glasses and
those close-ups with the studios always think they know best. Not necessarily always, but a lot of times they're wrong. I just want to quickly mention, you know, one of my friends wanted to watch that alien movie with the guy from Shaun of the Dead. And I thought he was talking about a world at World's End, but he was talking about Paul.
Yeah.
So we're watching at World's End. He's like, when is this alien going to show up? Because you don't know it's aliens in at World's End until later on. So I thought he knew. And it was pretty, he realized, wait, that's not the movie I told you I wanted to watch.
Well, see, the thing I like about World's End also is that it pulls up From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
You show it. the best thing about From Dusk Till Dawn and World's End is you have someone going blind to both films. You tell them the fucking first act. That's what you tell them. You don't tell them there's aliens. You don't tell them there's vampires. Which I'm now telling everyone that's watching this. If you haven't seen either one of those films, sorry, I just fucking 30-year-old film in the But regardless, like the reactions on people, I'll never forget. I showed my father From Dusk Till Dawn, and I sold it to him as this cop, as this criminal movie about these two guys running from the law, and he's like, all right, let's watch it. And when the vampire showed up, his mouth was agape for like the whole sequence, and he looked at me and goes, "What the fuck am I watching?" Because it only gets better because now they have fucking, it's like George Clooney only blew up. Like the cast only got bigger for that film. So it's like now you look at it and it's like, oh, it's George Clooney. He's not going to do a horror film. It's George Clooney. He's the guy that does the dramas.
He was Return of the Killer Tomatoes. He was
exactly yes, but he did. But after that, I mean, like, look what he did after that. It was Syria,
Gravity.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm naming all like Academy Award
Batman, whichever Batman he was in. Whichever Batman he was in.
No,
I know. Let's not mention that.
Yeah, no.
But I was gonna. What was it? I was gonna say was you. What was it? Shoot, you just said something and fuck. Anyway, no. But hold on. Brandon has a question. Any news on Dark Circles? Because I remember you posted something about that a while back. Did you not?
Oh yeah. No. We all worked on Dark Circles.
Brandon too, or the same team from the other?
No. Mixture of a team.
Mixture. Okay.
Yeah, no, we worked on that. What was it? October? In Connecticut. I think we shot for like 3 weeks on that. There's no news that I've heard of yet. Nothing really new to report. I know that they're in post. They're working on finishing it up, and but that was a fun one. You know what I mean?
I actually got to quickly tell you, because you were telling that story from The Dark Knight Rises about the shirt, and you shouldn't feel so. And Darren told us that Darren Lynn-Bousman, the Saw director, told us this story live. So I assume it's okay to tell. I mean, he talked about it on a live stream. When he first shot Saw 2, he was directing it. And it was his first film he was directing, and the studio gave him a go because he wrote the script. Originally, it was supposed to be a script for something else, and they turned it into Saw 2. He wore the shirt, New Kids on the Block shirt, and Donnie Wahlberg's agent. I'm like, no, you got to take that off. You got to take that off. And so I think you're not. You and Darren Lynn-Bousman are you're both in the same boat. And he was helming the film. You were just a PA, and he was directing the film, and you're just a PA. You were just a PA at the time.
Yeah.
So you're not alone. You're not alone. But and then Donnie came back. Donnie loved, and that's why Chris Rock loves Darren Lynn-Bousman's style. Donnie loved. Even Donnie said when they were doing Saw 2, he loved his shooting styles.
Yeah,
there's nothing Chris Rock loved to, and like that. Yeah, so it's like you'd be surprised. Like a lot of actors, like you could be an actor and still have an eye for the technical area. But that's what's great about being. But you're also a team. Like you're talking about your team. Yeah. And that whole I have an analogy for that because I'm thinking like a Wes Anderson or all these movies that bring back the same actors for different characters in different movies. That's for the casting role, but you do it more. It's almost like you do the reverse. You bring the same team back for the crew for all your other you guys get together as a team for projects as opposed to being typecast by the same filmmaker. For the same film crew gets together, the same film group of filmmakers, and the crew gets together to do movies together as opposed to being the same actors in the same film. I'm being a little bit more wordier than it should be, but that makes you you're not just being cast in it to work together. You're choosing to work together. You're working together. You're a team. You're a family, and you enjoy the hell out of it. Like you said when you were doing Stream. Everybody came down simultaneously. They didn't have to be there, but they were there. They were driven. They're motivated. And I've met a lot of the team. I met Tony Todd, Danielle Harris, Jeffrey Combs, Dee Wallace, and they are some of the biggest, most amazing people. And they're big car stars, but they're just such authentic, down
Oh
to
yeah,
earth mensches and great human beings, and I've always loved them. And
yeah.
I forgot that was Danielle Harris in Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. But and and
Danielle,
and and
Danielle's
Free
amazing.
Willy and Free Willy, it's whatever. It's a
Yeah.
small world, but yeah,
But that's the
she's
thing. You look at some of the biggest filmmakers, you know what I mean? And like, I mean, you look at John Carpenter, you look at George Romero, you look at Sam Raimi. They all constantly use the same crew. They also use a lot of the same cast.
really.
Yeah,
See,
I mean, like I've used a lot of the same cast as well. Like this one actor who's in Doc Offers, the one that plays
mhm.
Connor McLeod, Paul Sheehan. He's been in every single one of my films. You go to all my short films. I mean, he was in
He's the
Breaking,
Johnny Depp to your Tim Burton.
pretty
Or should
much.
I should I
Yeah.
wait to make that reference till after the trial? I'm just kidding.
Oh, I'm Team Johnny, so
I am
um,
too. I was making a joke.
yeah. But no, but I mean, like he was in that. He was in Breaking. He was in Janice. He was in Last Call. He's in Dark Offerings. I mean, he's been in a bunch of stuff that I've done.
More than
Clifton Dunn as
Terry?
well. I've worked with him on
Oh
some.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like there's something about working with the same people that is just each other. You're comfortable, and that's something as a director that is so vital. Is comfortability, is having an actor that is comfortable with you and trusts you. You know what I mean? Because that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? It's like I gotta trust this actor or this crew member to do whatever the fuck this crazy thing is coming up in my head as a director. And they gotta trust that, like, if I say, all right, in this scene, I want you to like slap yourself around, and run around in circles, that I'm not just doing it just to be an asshole. I'm doing it because I think it's gonna make the scene better. Obviously, I'm not doing stuff
Yeah.
like that, but you know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah. No, I know.
and when it comes to like the crew, knowing that you have a crew that has your back, knowing that you have a team of people that are willing to go to the ends of the earth for you, and vice versa, that is everything. Because I always say, I never ever say, oh, it's my film. I always say it's our film because it is our film. I'm not making the film alone. I have a whole team. I got a DP, I got an assistant director, I've got, crew, I've got cast, I've got all these people behind the scenes that do everything. You know what I mean? Like, the characters aren't getting clothed unless there's a wardrobe designer. You know what I mean? It's like, you need these people. And to me, they also help make the film great, and it's taken a long time to find a great crew and a great teams and all this stuff. And, working with these guys, in this team, it's just, it's amazing. You know what I mean? It's like, we have so much fun together, and, the quality is in the films. I think, all the products so far that are coming out, hopefully, people do like them and all that stuff, because at the end of the day, like for me personally, I'm just a horror fan. You know what I mean? Like I'm a guy who grew up watching horror films, and just all I ever wanted to do was make film. That's I originally wanted to be an actor, then realized I couldn't act for shit. So that, let's move on. So then I started directing, and I just love it. I love working with actors. I love working with crews.
But at least you realized that when you were in the field, not when you're in college about to graduate under a major, and realize, no, I want to switch my major like a lot of people do. Because I
learned it really quick. I wasn't an actor.
That's what's great in the film industry. I just want to mention, because whether you're in the arts and entertainment, the performance field, or you're in the technical field, you're learning both ends. You're both learning the technical aspect, and you're learning the performing aspect. So if let's say you want to skew more towards the other one, or in addition, you're able to learn while being present. Just being present.
Yeah. And that's the thing, I constantly tell people, you're always going to learn. It doesn't matter if it's a good set or a bad set. It's the same thing with watching films. I always tell people, just watch fucking movies. Watch good movies, watch bad movies, watch the movies that have good concepts but are poorly executed. And then sit there after, and instead of just being like, oh, this movie sucks, be like, why doesn't this work?
Agreed. There's never a bad movie. Listen, I say that with a grain of salt, because there are movies that are TV shows that I don't like.
Yeah.
Whether I have my creative reasons or personal reasons or entertainment, whatever. But I will admit, like, usually, even if I don't like it, or I have a personal distaste towards it, I'll say if it has great writing, great acting, great cinematography, great special effects. Like I'll have stuff I don't like, but I'll admit that was done well. That was a great scene. That was a great performance. Like I don't have to like every element of it. Also, I don't have to hate the whole thing because certain things bothered me. Like I don't have to hate it in its entirety. Just like I could love something and still acknowledge the flaws, but those flaws should not drown out everything else about the movie.
Oh yeah,
You
no,
know,
totally. One of my favorite
yeah.
movies is a movie called Neon Maniacs.
Hmm.
And is it a great movie? Fuck no. It's got a lot of issues. In fact, half the film, they shot half the film. They didn't pay the crew. The crew walked. They lost the money, stopped shooting it, got more funding, shot the second half, and brought in a whole new cast of crews and shit, and then just cut off the third act. But I love this movie. I don't know what it is about this film. I just watch every October, every year
You
without.
watched it without the third act.
I mean, they end the movie, but it's very clear that they extended their middle act and just ended it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was
no.
thinking it sounds like The Turning. Like I didn't watch The Turning, the movie with the horror movie with the kid from Stranger Things, Finn Wolfhard.
Oh no, I didn't
Everybody,
see that either.
I heard people like they didn't understand what happened. Basically, it like they were all screaming in the car, and the movie just ends. They were screaming
That's
at each
not the
other in
thing.
argument.
It's
Like
like
I heard
the
it's like there's no
maniacs.
third act.
Yeah, like the maniacs, they attack the school, they get rid of some of them, and then the detective's like, "You guys are all crazy," and it goes to where the maniacs are because they get killed by water, but they're living under the
The
Golden Gate Bridge.
the neon maniac. Which one are you talking about?
No, yeah, Neon
Neon
Maniacs.
maniacs. Okay.
Yeah, and then like the movie just ends, and it's like, oh,
Abruptly.
okay, cool. But like, I fucking love this movie. I
And listen, there
love
are
it.
full-length movies that feel like half a movie. They're like an hour and a half or hour 45-minute movies that feel like half a movie.
Yeah, totally do. But like, one of the other big ones was there was supposed to be one of my favorite movies of all time is In the
Mhm.
Mouth of Madness. I'm a huge John.
Oh. Oh, I
I
love that film.
fucking love In the Mouth of Madness, and anyone that's watching that has not seen In the Mouth of Madness, earmuffs, but also go watch the fucking movie.
I love the Lovecraftian element, and I wish you saw
Oh yeah,
more of the creatures because I know
it
they
was
said there was
supposed
an
to.
alternate ending. Yeah, there was an alternate ending where they had
That's
you
what
forced
yeah.
to
Yeah,
but
and like, but now there was supposed to be a third act
yeah,
where like he goes out and all that stuff, and
it makes
that's
sense.
what happens, and it gets sucked into the thing. But the studio was like, "Whoa, we're not, no, we're not funding this, no, no, no,
I
no."
love Cosmic Horror. Cosmic Horror, apparently, they say is very hard to make,
Oh
but
yeah,
I don't know if you've ever seen Underwater with Kristen
oh
Stewart.
my god, I
Was
fucking love that movie.
see, I that when
It's
I you know,
terrifying.
I was debating whether I wanted to see it, but saw a spoiler by accident that the creature in the end was Cthulhu, and I'm like, no fucking way. I've been waiting my entire life for them to put an actual Cthulhu, the great old one, in a horror movie.
Yeah,
And when I read that, I'm like, okay, I'm watching this movie right away. I got to see this, and I
I couldn't
fucking
believe
loved
it.
it.
I was blown away. I
Like,
watched
when
it
I
on
saw it was
HBO.
Cthulhu, I'm like, "Holy shit, this is fucking amazing." I said to my friend who only knows H.P. Lovecraft because I talk about and how it's connected to Judaic or Kabbalah, like the real Kabbalah, not the
Yeah.
Madonna or Paris Hilton Kabbalah. Like, I mean, like the ancient creature, and I told him, like, you know what that is? I'm like, he's like, "What, Cthulhu?" Like, really? Like, cause like
The
I fucking
doorway
love
scene
Lovecraft.
where it's like with all the where
She
all
looks up and it lifts its foot. She looks up and like you see the lightning or like
oh
and it's
god.
towering.
It's terrifying. That movie scared. Look, the first 5-10 minutes of that movie, I tell everyone just get through it because the
Yes.
first 5-10 minutes, it's like it's
And you
kind of
realize what's his
chaotic.
name from Deadpool is in it, and you're like, "Okay, this is gonna be fun." And then
Yeah, but then
like,
when
"Oh,
it kicks in,
oh,
holy shit! And the darkness of that, I was not expecting that movie to be good. I was expecting
yes,
it to be shit.
agreed,
And then I
agreed." When I
watched it,
saw
and I was
Cthulhu
actually scared. I was like, "Fuck!"
because it gives that it's like claustrophobic, even
It's
in that way,
so claustrophobic,
because like
even though
even
they're
if
at the
you're in
bottom of the fucking ocean.
because they're literally at the bottom, even when they're not at the only at on the floor or like it's claustrophobic because you can't see. It's all
Yeah,
dark. You're in a wide open space, but it's all darkness around you, and
yeah.
you're seeing a lot of it through their eyes because you're jumping back and forth between the cameras of their helmets. But and it was all filmed. I don't know if you knew this. They emptied out a Lowe's factory or building and shot that all in a Lowe's.
What?
Like an empty Lowe's. They shot. I know. I thought you knew this. They shot it all in an
No.
empty Lowe's. Like all those crane scenes with them, like that was all shot in an empty Lowe's building or factory, like a really big.
That's insane. That's
Yeah,
so crazy to
those
me.
underwater scenes.
That's insane to me.
Yeah,
Like, that whole you're making me wanna rewatch it.
yeah. Right.
I gotta
I
get
love
it
to
on
rewatch
Blu-ray.
it.
That's what I gotta get. 'Cause I only watch it on HBO, but, like, and I'm
Yeah,
a massive you can see some of them in the background, but, like, that's just a
yeah. Oh, I
I have,
see.
like, shelves and all this stuff. I've got over 2,000 of them over there.
Well, you see all this stuff on my shelves. I got a bunch of Blu-rays and DVDs beneath that.
Oh, wow.
Under all that stuff, all those posters, masks, and stuff. I have to see. I'm bad at directions. And then I have under here, under my TV. Well, sorry, these are all movie props used and stuff worn and used in movies.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's one of the Candyman outfits worn in the new Candyman, but like in the Hellraiser, Matt who's out from the possession. That's one of the death. That's Monica Keena's bloody jacket from Freddy vs. Jason. That's Justin Bieber's bloody shut up thing from Zoolander 2. That cost me $1,000 fucking.
That's crazy,
I would
dude.
I would either get him to sign it or sell it to Selena Gomez so she could burn it. I'm just kidding. No, but under my TV, I have a ton of DVDs that I haven't watched in years, but a lot of them are horror, and like I got so much stuff behind all this stuff. I literally have no room for most of this stuff. I have to take down. I have more posters under there than I have stuff on my walls,
Dude,
and I
I'm
have a lot of
in
stuff
that
on my
same
walls.
boat, bro. My coffee table that well, my dining room, my living room table, I guess is what you call. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stacks of just fucking unwatched Blu-rays, and then I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get more, and I'm like, why the fuck am I buying more? I've got like at least 100 fucking movies that are still in the plastic.
Only. Oh, right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're still in the
I've
plastic
been
that I
there.
haven't
I've
even
been there.
opened, and I'm like, oh,
There are some I wish I
RoboCop
held,
4K. Let me just upgrade this shit.
but
Like,
there are some I
watch
wish
the
I
other
held
one, asshole. Like, come on.
But there are some I wish I held on to because they're impossible to get, and a lot of stuff hasn't gone to streaming, like Stephen King's Rose Red, which fucking terrified me.
I
You can't.
have that on
It
DVD.
cost. I sold it when I did like but now it costs like $120 for a DVD to get on Amazon.
Try getting
It's,
Dogma. Dogma.
oh, I still have my Dogma special edition. I
Yeah,
think.
Dogma on Blu-ray goes for like $120.
Wow.
Yeah, there are
Wow.
certain films that are there's actually a great website that
I
that
used to go to New York City and all those hole in the wall things that sell DVDs for like you buy 4 get like
yeah,
7 free. And me and my friends used to go and we would come back home with bags of DVDs. Some of them were used, or most of them were, but like they worked. And
but
like
they're all
you
gone
could
now,
go to
man.
but Blockbuster was, but you'd pay like 10 times more than you would pay if you go to the city. But I still fucking love Blockbuster. But
Yeah.
yeah. I just want to
Dogma.
mention, because we were talking about Alexandra Daddario. That's her birth mother's gravestone from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, and
Oh,
that's Trey
wow.
Songz's tire that my friend Dan Yeager slashed when caused the. I don't know if you saw Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Yeah, I've
That's
seen them all.
yeah. So Trey Songz, that's the tire that Dan slashed in Texas Chainsaw. It actually has the big slash in it. I don't know if you could see it from here.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's, I think, the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie to use a real chainsaw for some sequences. Like to use a real, like they had to have people stay 10 feet away at all times.
Well, they used a real one in the original one,
Oh,
too.
they did. I guess it's the first one since that one.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they did a lot of things in the original
Oh,
film.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
they
was
didn't do like Cannibal Holocaust style, like killing endangered
no,
species.
no.
No,
But I
no.
mean,
Bo
like
Booper would have.
like they were fucking nuts, man. But
Yeah.
that's but then you look at Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the original one. Wow, my boss
Mhm.
accent really just came out.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say your cockies and your khakis and your cockies
Yeah,
and your khakis.
Massacre.
Massacre.
That film, it's a one of a kind film. It's the reason why, like, I think that a lot of these other ones, they don't work the right way, is just because that film was visceral. It was like something you'd never seen.
Unapologetically
100%.
visceral.
It is a fucking masterpiece. And you watch it, number one, there's not a drop of music in the whole film.
Right.
That is unheard of for a horror film.
Right. Well, and it's funny because sometimes often silence is scarier than music.
Oh, totally. But like, you got to have something. I remember I went to a screening in Boston at the
Boston
corner.
Sorry.
Yeah. And Gunnar was there, and they had a band that was playing during the movie. And the only other time I've ever seen this was Goblin playing live for Suspiria, which was fucking incredible. But it was a guy on a drum and a woman singing over the film.
Chainsaw?
Yes. And they were like in the thing, and it was so weird, but it worked. It was like this very weird, like,
well, it had to, otherwise I'm sure they wouldn't have allowed, like, they would have like and stopped it if it didn't work.
Yeah, even Gunnar came out and was even like, wow, that's actually working for the film. It has no music. But like Gunnar also told like a million crazy fucking stories. Like, listen,
they've got to release a version of the film with that soundtrack. I'm really curious.
I doubt they ever will.
I know.
You know,
you never know. They released. They're releasing what, George Romero's lost film, Carnival or whatever it was called.
Well, I think it's like, I think it is called Carnival.
Carnival, I think. Yeah.
That one, and then they found the 3-hour Martin cut.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah, I heard about that.
Which I don't think is gonna. I think that's going away because I think that
it's too visceral.
I think Rubenstein owns it. They're all the right stuff that goes on with a lot of these films.
The Friday the 13th lawsuit, like the legal thing has been going on for like 5-6 years.
Yeah, and here's the thing: slashers are back right now. Everyone, slashers they're king of the box office. Halloween's made how much money right now? Scream made a bunch of money. Like
even Conjuring was like the universe is still growing.
Yeah, but the thing is that now is a perfect time. You want to make fucking $100 million, throw out a Friday the 13th, and they're not doing it. It's and now also I guess the rights to Night of the Day, Nightmare on Elm Street and RoboCop are going back to the writers. But that could also be good sometimes.
Yeah. I was watching a documentary called Nightmare in Red, White, and Blue. I don't know if you've seen it, Nightmares in Red, White, and Blue.
Yeah.
They interview John Carpenter, George Romero, Darren Lynn Bousman. They talk about horror and the evolution of it. It's in 2012, but it's still relevant. And they talk about how horror movies go with the times, like the whole and I took a disaster film class in college, so I learned about how disaster films, the rise and fall, but also like how the government even back then played a role in the early 1900s, played a role in horror films. Like they said, even Frankenstein, the monster had to die. It was literally like sort of like the studio system, like, but it wasn't for like women, it was like the filmmakers, you had to kill. It was because every time war or some horrible thing happened in real life, horror flourished. But I wish it didn't take that. But that's how in history, that's why horror films have grown so much, because there's been so much real life horror, so much death, so much tragedy, so much global that's one of the reasons horror is really taking off these last few years.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing. Horror has always been the underdog.
Oh yeah, yes, it's an underdog, but it's also
it's for the people that were bullied for everything. I mean, I was bullied in high school, what I mean? And I escaped.
That was 5.
Into, I escaped into horror, Evil Dead. I was the kid running around and telling everyone about Bruce Campbell. And it was my escape. It was my sanctuary, in the darkest times of my life, when I've lost my mother, when I lost my father, when I've lost people in my life, or, got divorced, anything.
But you have a family now. I just got to say, like, that's just, you have like a work family that's become like your real family.
Oh, totally. Oh yeah, no. And like, and they're all amazing. But I mean, like horror was like the place that I felt happy. You know what I mean? It was the place that I can, it's therapeutic. It's
was it Wes Craven who said horror doesn't create fear, it releases fear, something like that?
It is. Yeah, and that's 100% what he said. And it's true. It releases our fears. You know what I mean? It's the same reason why people jump out of fucking planes. It's the reason why people go up on roller coasters, which are fucking insane, and like, shoot down 600 feet, or whatever. It's the thrill, it's the adrenaline, and horror creates that. It gives us a sense of like fear. It makes our blood pressure, our hearts race. And it's also the only genre that encompasses every genre. Like you take a film like Dawn of the Dead, it's horror, it's action, it's comedy, it's romance, it's drama. I mean, it's everything. There's not a single genre that it doesn't touch upon.
Star Wars, I think, is one of the only franchises in that in a different genre. Well, it is sci-fi, but Star Wars is a Western.
Yeah.
It's a comedy. It's an action. It's a sci-fi. It's a love story. It's like that's one of the few franchises that has those elements that horror franchises incorporate. And so Dracula, a love story, not just a
Yeah.
horror. It's a straight up love story, but sometimes Dracula is more of a love story than a horror, depending on the version. Even Francis Ford Coppola, whether it be Bram Stoker's version or Francis Ford Coppola's version of Bram Stoker's Dracula, it's a love story, but it's also a horror story. And there's humor. And Anthony Hopkins is like that Van Helsing character that has a lot of great lines when he's drunk, like or even when he's not. He's just like go very witty. It's
Look
just
at Fright Night. Fright Night's another
yes.
example. Fright Night is literally, a romantic story. You know what I mean? It's a story about romance, but it's also a comedy. I mean, the movie's
Even Saw has some funny lines. Like Jigsaw's literally in the brain surgery. He's like, "How you feel?" Like, "Never better."
Yeah.
Like even Saw 2, like Chris Rock brought, like when Chris Rock did, I know you don't like Spiral, but like he was like that hard ass cop that brought in comedy. But
I didn't dislike.
Not dislike. I don't mean hate. I mean
Yeah.
like you weren't a big fan. But Chris Rock, it wasn't a comedy, but he like he said, he sugarcoat, but like his character had those sharp, bad, like a hard ass cop type of lines that added comedy. But the other films did have some lines that were like, you laugh at because the context, like when Xavier in Saw 2 was yelling at, like, a smack it, like talking to the hooker, like making a whole like Addison is like, the dialogue was just, if you actually stop and listen as opposed to, oh, you're hearing arguing, like that dialogue's pretty freaking funny, like, or
See,
like
I have a whole theory that that the Saw universe takes place in the Lethal Weapon universe, and Chris Rock's character in Spiral.
What about Danny Glover?
Is actually Sergeant Butterman from Lethal Weapon 4. That's who I think he is, and I think he's just disgruntled. Danny Glover's character, Murtaugh, he's dead. He went nuts and he died because Riggs got killed or something like that. And now, that's who he is. So like,
Butters, hold on, Brandon says Butters.
Yes. So like halfway through the film, he's like, it's a diversion. They wanted us out of the police station. And all I'm thinking of is him in fucking Lethal Weapon 4 going, da 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 1, da 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 2. Oh, fucked up. Gotta call him again. And I'm like that. It just kept pulling me out because I'm just thinking of that.
Even when Chris Rock is sitting there, like, this is some New Jack City shit. I'm like, he's literally in New Jack City. It's like it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D, where Trey Songz is playing pool at a table, literally listening to his own music.
Yeah, no.
I didn't catch that, but somebody else caught that.
That's some shit. That's some shit. Okay, like
Oh god, that's hilarious. I love that. It's sort of like, but I'll tell you, like, it's sort of like, then you look at Bridgerton, which people love. I don't watch it, but they use it's taking place. It's not my thing, but you're listening to the music. It takes place in the Victorian times or whatever times but the music is modern pop music, but it's played in a classical manner. So the soundtrack is like, so it's very, I would watch just for the music.
Yeah.
Like there are certain films I would watch just for certain elements. Like, listen, you like I was saying earlier, you could like a certain film or not like a certain film, but still appreciate. Like, I have a friend, like, I love the Insidious films. I fucking love the Insidious films. I have a friend who didn't like the movie, but he thought the soundtrack made the movie, which he is damn right. And what's his name, who does the soundtrack, who's worked with James Wan on other films, and we're friends on Facebook. I forgot the guy's name all of a sudden. But he's bald guy, and he actually, I think, also played the red and black demon.
Does play the main demon in that.
Yeah, and he's great, but his music is so eerie, like not like Saw, like epic eerie, like really just straight up eerie.
Now,
that it creates
composer that also just did that he worked with for Malignant, or is it a different guy?
Yes. Hold on a second. Oh, Malignant. Did you like Malignant? Because I loved it.
Loved
Malignant. Yes.
Because like right from the start of Malignant, without spoils, I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, of course not.
Right from the start, from the first frame of that movie, like I sat there because I'd already heard it. A James Wan movie comes out, and you have the people that love it. Then you have the people that are like, "Oh, fuck James Wan," and I'm like, "No,
I love James. No,
I love James Wan.
I love
him,
but
but like right off the bat, they're like, "Oh, Malignant's so cheesy," and from that opening sequence, I went, "Yes, I know exactly what he's trying to do," and he literally made a '70s giallo that is based on Basket Case.
Yes,
And
that's
here's the brilliant part. He went to the studio, and this is why I love James Wan. He just got off of fucking Aquaman, Fast 7. He's on these giant blockbusters, and they go,
Aquaman
James,
2.
yes. And they go, James, what do you want to make? He goes, I want to make a fucking giallo based off of a cheesy B 80s movie called Basket Case. That's what I want to make. Give me $10 to $15 million. And the studio said, here you go. And that is Malignant. And I fucking love the fact
beautifully shot, the choreography.
Oh, it's amazing.
Some of the sequences are just like, this is a horror film, but like they had some. I've seen some of his films that like sort of like in Insidious or Conjuring with the real like what James is a visionary. Like there
he
are
really is. His camera work is unmatched.
Yes,
I love his one shot.
Some of his scenes, like certain like camera shots, like I even told him, I wrote him right after I saw Conjuring 2 in theaters. I went right home and I wrote him. There are like certain strategic shots that I absolutely love, like just the way they're shot. Like in Malignant, same fucking thing. That whole scene where like right into the desk, like just beautiful.
Yeah.
Hold on, Sean. My friend Sean Smithson says, I hear in Spiral 2, Chris Rock becomes a killer and he slaps Will Smith to death. Oh God, is that too soon? All right, I had to share that because that had me cracking up.
Oh my God!
Yeah, nobody's ever gonna let that go.
No, nobody ever will. It will live on forever.
I think I pitched, or I tried to pitch to Darren. I think in a description I tagged him in. I said, you know what? I think maybe now, as part of the legal issue with Will Smith, he should be restricted. He has to act in Spiral 2 in a trap, and they have to kill him off as part of his legal binding, pun intended, binding for Spiral 2. I had to legal binding or illegal binding, I guess you could say. Yeah. Sorry, I had to. I'm me and the puns. I just want to mention, hold on, my mouse just died. Oh, there we go. Brandon says, I just want to say, Brandon says, best of luck with Night of the Living Dead 2, Marcus. Looking forward to hearing more about it as more news comes out. Cheers to you.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man.
And my friend CJ says, because you can never have enough DVDs. You know what? Or Blu-rays. And he even puts the clown emoji. And you know what? We know we're a little crazy with how many DVDs we own. But you know what? It's weird is the new norm. And if you're not weird, you're not my friend. And like I say, like we all what does Anthony Perkins say that Billy Loomis repeated years later? We all go a little mad sometimes.
Yeah, and if Anthony Perkins said it, I mean, that's another one of the greatest.
Yeah, because like the most sympathetic person in the movie tends to be the villain. Like if you didn't know when I was in high school, we watched it in film class. I was like one of the only people. I was the only kid in the class who knew the ending, and people were like, "Oh, that crazy woman," and like I'm like, how did they not catch on yet? Like this movie is like in the 60s, and this was like early 2000s, and I'm like, you guys need to learn to like not that you should predict it, but I'm like, how have you not caught on? I mean, it's not like you think this generation knows.
I wish. See, like there's certain films that I wish I could go back and completely erase from my mind so I can watch them for the first time. Like Saw. Saw's a perfect example. I wish I could see that for the first time again.
It never ceases. It never doesn't give me chills. I rewatch it every time, and it always gives me epic chills, and I love it. I fucking love it.
Deep Red is another one for me, where like without
Argento.
But like, and I love fucking Argento, but I mean, like, I wish I could go back and not know the ending to Deep Red. Or even Opera. Opera is ironically my favorite Argento film. There are certain pieces of camera work in that film that's brilliant. I actually got to work with Billy McNamara, who plays one of the guys.
Oh wow, yeah.
And the stories he was telling me about it were crazy because apparently the beginning of the film where they're showing the woman the celebrity,
right. Oh, yes.
All like VOD, and it's all one shot. That was all on the fucking fly. Because what happened was, according to Billy, was they shot that they were supposed to shoot in I guess in Italy. When they hire you for 5 days, they hired this big famous actress for 5 days. But in Italy, when you do that, they it's like You know, it's not 5 consecutive days. It's you're shooting for 5 days, and they shoot you one day here, and then
It's
shoot
like
you next week.
Ramadan for shooting. It's like you don't have to do it consecutively. You just gotta do it in full.
Exactly,
Gotta
exactly.
fulfill it.
So they flew the woman in. They didn't shoot with her for 5 days, and on the 5th day, she flew back. And Argento's like, "Wait a minute, what do you mean? We got to shoot with her. She can't go away." They couldn't get her back. She was already on something else. They had to pay her. So they, on the fucking fly, reshot. Not reshot, but they shot that opening in improv. They were like, all right, fuck it. It's just going to be her POV. It's going to be this, and we're going to shoot it that way. And they just came up with that. And to me, that's fucking brilliant because that whole sequence is masterful, you know?
Yeah, I've heard stories like that where they shoot it out, like they wing it. They literally like, and it becomes just one of the greatest shots in the movie or scenes in the movie. Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what's it called? Darren actually told us a story in Texas when they had the Saw reunion there in 2018. Like I forgot which Saw it was, but he literally like he told the story where they literally like he had to get this one shot, like literally one last shot. They literally like enclose themselves like a close-up. I forgot. I don't know. I might not be telling it right. Probably not telling it right. They literally closed, like put up the fake walls and shot it. And the producers are like on the outside, and they take the walls, and the producers like just looking at them, giving them a look or something. Like he just like so he was talking about Spiral, that opening scene.
Yeah.
In the July 4th, they weren't even supposed to be there. Like they didn't even get, like he literally like they're running around with the camera trying not to get caught by security when they're really not supposed to be. Darren told the story to like that is great, and it worked. It worked out.
See that's the shit I love.
It's because it's like it's like a rush.
Yeah. Did you ever see Blowout with John Travolta, the Brian De Palma movie?
No, that one I didn't see.
So the famous story from this movie, I won't spoil it, but
yeah, for sure.
So there's a giant ending on the 4th of July with hundreds of extras, and it has all their big name cast. Now, this film was Brian De Palma straight off of Scarface, John Travolta straight off of Saturday Night Fever, Nancy Allen straight off of something else. Like all these people had just done their giant films, and this was their follow-up. So they shot the film, the giant ending. Okay, they gave it to a PA, and they say, "Here you go. You're gonna drive cross country, okay? The only copy they have of it. You're saying. Oh, it's film. You know what I mean? So it's
right. It was not,
yeah. So this is like in the 80s. You know,
they just trusted a PA with it.
Well, it was somebody that they knew. You know,
okay.
They're like, okay, so listen, so you're gonna drive across country. You're gonna stop 12 hours in. You're gonna sleep, wake up, and then finish the drive. So the PA does it. He drives cross country, 12 hours in, stop.
I'm biting my teeth.
Yeah. There. He stops. He goes to sleep. He goes into a hotel. He goes to sleep. Wakes up. Car's been broken into. The footage is stolen.
I knew this was coming.
They do not have the ending to the movie. John Travolta's already gone on, I think, to do Staying Alive or whatever the fuck movie he did after that. My God. Brian De Palma was already working on his next film. And two of the other actors who I don't want to say their names because this is a brilliant fucking movie. And you want to go in blind to it. It's
100%.
So fucking good. It's one of my favorite De Palma movies. It's one and they had to fly everybody back. They had to slap a wig onto Travolta. They had to fucking reshoot with all these thousands and hundreds of extras, everything. They had to reshoot the ending from scratch.
Please tell me that PA.
No one knows what happened to the PA. At least
probably in the what's it called, the FBI's what was it called,
what would you do? I mean, like look, if I was the PA, right, back in the day,
but it's not his fault. It's not his fault whatsoever.
He's in the car, and I'd walk away. I'd be like, I'm done. Like I'm out of the film industry. I'm out.
Yeah, I just feel so like I honestly, as a long time ago as it is, I just feel terrible because I hate when people pay for things that are not their fault. That's why I love Saw, because like I love seeing justice. It's like one of the reasons we watch films, because we like to see justice happen. Yes. We like to see justice being brought, especially in a world where justice is extremely flawed and we like to see like obviously horror doesn't always have happy endings, but that's why I see Jigsaw not as the villain, but the protagonist, because all the people that he puts in the traps or games or are bad people, and the bad ones who survive, or the ones who, or whatever, the one specific ones who are meant, who are the bad people who are put in the games where they're meant to survive, who
Yeah.
survive. This whole thing is like he's able to dispense justice and really rehabilitate somebody in the same exact moment, which is not something that happens in a moment, but he was able to do it. You have people sitting in jail for years who rehabilitate. You have people sitting in jail for years who don't. In his methods, as extreme as they were and unrealistic as this process might be, these people, the bad people, like it's like you're either it's ridding the world of a bad person or it's rehabilitating them in an instant. So it's making you appreciate the value of life while dispensing justice in the same moment, which is not realistic, unfortunately. I mean, I'm
Right.
not saying we should go around putting people in traps. I'm saying like
No, but I mean, but
I wish it's like a feeling of justice, like when, like especially people who've been hurt, been
yeah.
killed, who lost somebody to lost a loved one or a friend to such a unnecessarily unnecessary situation where and the person got away with it, or there was a technicality in the law system, in the justice, and it's just like that's one of the many reasons I love Saw, and the twists. I love movies with great twists.
Well, also think about, I mean, look at the 70s and 80s, okay?
Yes.
You have like your Charles Bronson movies, and I love Charles Bronson. But like every one of those movies, you know, all the death wishes, it's all about
Yes.
him seeking justice. And then
Punisher,
what
even
happens
the
is
comics,
that,
the
you
comics
know,
too. All the
yeah,
superhero
well,
comics,
yeah,
Punisher, the darker ones.
it's all about, you know, it's like, you know, you look at Stallone, you look at Schwarzenegger, you work with Bruce Willis, you look at all these people, and it's, we kind of live vicariously through these people. And I think that's why a lot of them, we just kept watching these films over and over again. Why the fuck did we watch like Taken 17, you know, like a walk
Taken for granted, taken egg and cheese, and Tyler Perry's Mario gets taken.
yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
And
Like,
then
it's
taking
like,
all my money.
it's like,
Taking all my money.
yeah, it's like we watch these because we are living vicariously through them, because we can't take justice in our own hands. That's just not how the world works. But then you watch a movie like Death Wish, you know, and here's a mild-mannered guy whose wife gets raped and his daughter gets raped and his wife gets murdered, and the cops are like, nothing we can do. Sorry, have a nice life. And
It is an unfortunate
he goes out,
realistic thing. Yeah,
and he goes and
sometimes.
starts killing rapists. He starts killing muggers,
And
and you know, I mean, and then on
you
top,
don't feel bad for them because
right.
they're
But then
criminals.
you also see when this is the beautiful thing about the original Death Wish, is that he becomes addicted. He becomes so addicted to getting justice and doing all the justice that he starts not caring if he gets hurt, to the point where he gets fucking shot and he keeps going after the guys, and they're just like, yo, it's enough. You got to get the fuck out of Dodge. You know, go away, Mr. Vigilante. Then, of course, you know, there's Death Wish 3, where he's got the fucking Wildy Magnum, and he's taking on New York City by himself.
It's also, you'll think of it like Spider-Man Homecoming. There was like that whole thing about like the adrenaline, like when somebody you love is like their life is at risk. Like your body is not supposed to, like, but like the adrenaline makes your body do what the mind would tell it not to do. Like it makes you like strong in ways the human body should not. And it's proof that like the woman who picked up a car to save her baby, like it's a real thing. But Bronson went to the next level. People who he didn't even know, people who were just victims, unjust victims by criminals, he went the extra mile. He just became an agent of vengeance and justice.
Yeah.
And that's like Batman. Like he says, I'm vengeance. There's more to that than just, oh, he's vengeance. He is an agent of vengeance. He's going the extra mile for people he doesn't even know, because he is a form of justice, but he's also a form of vengeance, because but at the same time, there's still morals there, obviously, because you're fighting for the good, you're fighting the bad, you're ending the bad. I mean, vigilanteism, unfortunately, in real life is usually not so
right. It's not
moral.
It's not black and white. It's, you know, there's so much, you know, other. I mean, what's the line from Kick-Ass? You know, like, you know, there's like, you know, like 100,000 billionaires on the planet, and not a single one of them wants to be Batman.
But even Stephen King, Stephen King said, the monsters in I agree, the monsters in, but the monsters in his movies are not monsters; they're people. Bram Stoker, every little element and detail of Dracula was based off somebody else in his life. Oh
George A.
yeah,
Romero.
and Brandon. So Brandon says, also love this movie, even though it didn't do so
I
great.
love Death
I
Sentence,
love Death
which is
Sentence.
also written and is actually the true sequel to Charles Bronson's Death Wish.
Really?
Because the writer, oh fuck, I can't think of his name right now, but the writer hated the sequels, the movie sequels. The original sequel is Death Sentence.
Sounds like John Carpenter
Yeah.
on Halloween. Like he
Yeah.
loved the first one, he hated the sequels.
I know. Oh fuck, I love Halloween too.
Oh,
But Death Sentence, Kevin Bacon's a fucking beast.
yes.
John Goodman, I quote this all the time.
Oh
And
my
no one gets
God.
it. I always say, "Go with God with a big bag of guns."
He's just like
Right.
he's a funny badass He's a funny emotionless badass.
Well, the thing is that was also like at the peak when like John Goodman was like at the peak weight, and he's like sweaty and greasy, and he's just like.
But that was his character also.
But Dad,
His character was just.
If you ask me where my son is, I will blow you the fuck away right now. And it's like, dude, his speech in it is so fucking good.
And it's like dirty, but but he looks like he just crawled out of a grave. Like he's just like
100%.
covered in dirt, and not necessarily looks dead. He like covered in schmutz, as they say.
Yeah.
Also, CJ also says because Taken has a particular set of skills to keep making sequels.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, I can I tell you something? It's it's some revenge stuff. I think like listen, I'm one of those people that like I don't always think the original is better by definition because it came first. Like I'm one of those people that loved the Halloween sequels. Not all of them super, but Donald, you have to understand, growing up, Donald Pleasance was literally like my well, I just want to mention a side note. You talked about how when you were 5, like you got it. I was 5 when I got into horror, but I started on Abbott Costello Meet Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, House on Haunted Hill. But I was always that kid. I had one good friend who we're no longer friends anymore, but he was my dear friend for many years. While most of the kids were playing at the playground, we would sit on the side and talk horror movies all of recess. Like just talk about movies. And he would tell me about the ones I didn't watch yet that he watched or I couldn't watch when my family was around because it had nudity, or he claimed it had nudity but didn't like the Bride of Chucky scene where Jennifer Tilly's dancing for the doll. He's claiming she's naked. I'm like, she's not really naked, whatever. But I was a kid. I was like in yeshiva. We're literally in Hebrew school. All the kids are playing the playground. We're on the sidelines talking horror movies, or looking at Mortal Kombat magazines about which characters in the new Mortal Kombat trilogy, whatever. But like I grew up loving the classics. I went to Child's Play when Channel 11 would play Aliens, the WB movie at 1. So they have Aliens, and then they would have Point Break, but then they would have Child's Play 2. But they wouldn't even edit it out for basic cable because the censorship wasn't the same as it is now, where you have like most of my neighborhood didn't even have cable. My grandmother was one of the first people to have cable. So like, but I would watch all this stuff, and you would see people get ripped apart, but I guess it wasn't because there wasn't as much risqueness on TV, so there wasn't enough people chomping down on it. There wasn't cable, like there was only Cablevision at the time. There was no DirecTV. There was no HBO Max. There was none of that. There was HBO. Encore was like the equivalent of HBO at that time, and nobody even knows what Encore is anymore.
Yeah, nobody knows.
Yeah, like Showtime was only famous for like Queer as Folk, which my mother had it taken down because she didn't want any of us accidentally watching that as little kids or whatever. But like that was like it was just whatever. But like I grew up on the classic horror, and then I worked my way to sci-fi and the 80s horror. And I never had one favorite horror film. I had a favorite zombie film, Day of the Dead. I had a favorite slasher franchise. I had a favorite this, but I never had one favorite horror film until I watched the first Saw, and I fell in love with that ending. There was like I've watched, and my taste grew. I have taste for foreign films now, other genres. I always love horror, and who doesn't love comedy? But and can I tell you something? As much as I love all genres, horror will always be, and people will always say, oh, that escape, it's an illusion, it's silly, it's whatever. They don't understand. And it's not only that they don't understand, they think because it's not real, it's irrelevant. It
Yeah.
is real. It's a reflection of real life. And not just that art intimidates life and life intimidates art. It is a reflection of us, of human beings, and that, like Stephen King in his books, not just film, in his books, man, people are his monsters. The monsters are structured off traits and elements of people. That's
Well,
what horror is structured on. And that's like horror, like war. Well, like all these like freaks was like coming after World War II. Every time there's a war happens in the world, there are horror films to reflect that. Maybe sometimes in more underlying thematic element based ways, but they just don't look past, like, they see the gore. Oh, it's disgusting. I don't want to see it. Oh, that's scary. No, I can't, like, but they don't even, it's like you can't tell me to learn Torah and like accept or understand what I'm not supposed to, like, it's like you're learning, but you have to learn more to understand,
yeah.
or you're not supposed to understand it. But like, you're telling me that this is silly, but you can literally, like, I can literally explain to you, but you don't want to listen. But like, it's people that tell people not to judge while judging that person for something that's so much easier to understand if you actually, or accept, if you make more of an effort.
No,
It's like,
100%. I mean,
because if
it
you
even
look
goes
for it.
back to like George A. Romero. I mean,
Yeah.
George A. Romero, just circling back, like, always said, the real villains in my films are not the zombies. The dead are not, in Night of the Living Dead, the villains are not the zombies. They are the
Yes.
outer presence. The real drama, the real
Between
villains
people.
are inside that house, And it's, it's everything else. Same thing with Day of the Dead.
Even Walking Dead.
Walking Dead, all the
Walking
zombie films,
Yeah.
it's always people, humanity. It is,
Well, actually, so Walking Dead, it was the first 2 seasons. Yes, it had some elements in the second season, but the first 2 seasons were more the zombies. After it was, I think, season 3, where really you realize the biggest, and I think people made fun of this, the biggest issue in the apocalypse is not zombies, it's zombie apocalypse, it's people. It's renegade, villainous, take all, kill all and take all, power hungry, bloodthirsty people. It's
yeah.
not the zombies. The zombies are just became and as much as that got dragged out, it did get better the last few seasons. I know you
Yes,
also
it
agree
did.
with me
Yes,
on
it
it.
did.
It got
I
really good.
love the Whisper War, man. I tell
Oh god.
everyone, breeze through the Negan War.
Oh yeah,
They
that was very
screwed
much
that
dragged
up.
out,
They
but
did screw that up. But the Whisper War,
oh
woo!
god. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan has become like my favorite character. Like the new,
Oh yeah,
he's like the best
he's
character.
incredible.
Like
He's incredible.
there see, and you know what? And it gets you on your emotions, because like not just the Glenn thing and the Carl thing. I mean, like, there are a lot of things, even when people don't die. But like, there was one episode, I think was called the one with the pikes, the spikes with the heads on them.
Yes, that was.
I was crying hysterically because it was just it's like the way they let up, like, oh, they even watch, I don't usually watch reaction videos, but the reaction video to that, I didn't know whether to cry or to laugh, because the reactions are like, oh, that person, oh, that's the guy, is that the guy from whatever show? Like, oh, that, and then like you get to them, like, no, oh god, no, 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 and it's like, holy shit, did they just really do that? And like, Christian, fuck you, fucking that, fuck you. Like, it was like the reactions were so funny while you're crying from
I know, man. It's crazy that they're in their final season right now. It's just,
yeah.
But then again, right now, I've been going crazy with Better Call Saul, which I think is the greatest show on the fucking.
I'm so behind on that. I really
up. They're.
I know.
I won't spoil anything, but
people said it's better than Walking Dead. Like, I'm not Walking Dead. It's better than Breaking Bad. Like,
it's two different shows. So like Breaking Bad is easily my favorite show I've ever watched in my life.
Actually, for me, the 4th season is still above the peak for me. The 4th season,
like, to me, like, every season it stands on its own, and like, it is the one show where its final season is actually fucking good. It is actually,
it is. It is very much
ends so strong, which so many shows do not. I'm sorry, they just never do. They always,
a lot of the time
But Better Call Saul, in some ways, is better. But I don't know. It's
different. It's too
different. But like, what I can honestly say about Better Call Saul,
I'm like one of those people that don't like to compare. I see things.
Yeah, no, dude. But
I'm listening to what people say, so I have to see it for myself.
Catch up. before things start getting spoiled.
Yeah.
And just go in for the ride, because last season there was an episode. It's called Bagman, and it is on par with some of the best episodes. It's the one episode that Vince Gilligan came back to direct.
Wow. I got to tell you, Mike is one of my favorite characters in any show ever.
Mike.
His one-liners, there is nothing. Like,
you wanted me to talk.
Oh my God. His
so
facial expression, when like, you know, that, hey, just because you shot Jesse James doesn't mean you shot. Just because you killed Jesse James doesn't make it Jesse James. It's like, you know, they say it's been a pleasure. Well, it hasn't. Like, it's just like the line's just so great.
Dude, but, he's incredible. Jonathan Banks is incredible, and he was actually.
And you have a friend who's in the show, don't you? Or is involved in the show? You posted.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, no. Jeremiah Bitsui.
Yeah.
He's friends with one of my producers. I've met him a couple of times. He's actually a really sweet guy, but he plays Victor.
Yes. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Wow. Bitsui's amazing. He's such like an underrated talent. He really, really, really is.
Is he related to, what was it, the other Bitsui, or was it the Ingrid? No. I don't know. There was, maybe I'm thinking of the word or the name. The last name looks.
It might. Yeah. I don't.
No, I think it's. I'm thinking of the one who's married to James Wan, or the one who was in Malevolence.
Oh no.
I'm getting the name wrong. I'm getting the name wrong. Yeah, Bizu. Maybe it was Bizu. I'm thinking of Bizu. I'm thinking Abizu from Matisyahu, The Possession with Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Wrong.
Yeah, no. That's completely different. Actually, if you want to see a zombie movie, it's a zombie comedy. It's very hard to find.
Okay.
It's called Dead and Breakfast.
Okay, no, I know. Is that the musical one? Like, we're coming to kill you. We're coming to kill you.
Yeah. And Zachariah.
I didn't watch it, but
Zachariah Selwyn, or his band's called Zachariah and the Lobos Riders, who I fucking love.
I need to check that out.
Zachariah. But Zachariah does that. But Jeffrey Dean Morgan is in that fucking movie.
Wow.
Anthony Perkins' son is in that movie. Oz Perkins. Who else is in it? Gina Phillips from Jeepers Creepers.
Oh wow.
Diedrich Bader from like fucking the Drew Carey Show. David Carradine. Then and Ever Carradine are in it. Jeremy's sister. The cast is incredible.
That's insane. I had no idea.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan, when he was like chubby, is in this, and it's great.
I think we were all chubby at one point. That's just the way it is.
Oh no, it's great. It's like I rewatched the movie recently, and I play Zachariah's music all the time. But I
gotta check that out,
because he narrates the whole movie through like country singing raps and stuff like that. It's such a great movie.
Somebody says, isn't Clint Eastwood's daughter in Dead and Breakfast too? Is she
I
also?
think so.
Because I know his son was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D. Scott Eastwood.
Yeah, no. So Allison
and the new Guy Ritchie movie.
She might be in it. This was like one of those films I had. Like, it was like a who's who of everybody.
Really, I love those.
It stars Ever Carradine, which is David Carradine's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's ultra gory. It's very hard to find the film though. It really is. Anchor Bay released it. It never got a Blu-ray release. I luckily got a copy back on DVD.
I know, but I remember, DVD. My friend got it in a what's it called? A flea market in Pennsylvania.
Let me see.
He got like
a way to get it now.
I'm sure there's a way. It's just going to be very difficult. I don't want to illegally stream it as much as I really want to watch it soon. I'm probably gonna catch up on Better Call Saul, and then
you gotta catch up on Better Call Saul.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess you can watch it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, I've seen Dead and Breakfast. Yeah, I remember the cover. I've seen the cover on
one of the two.
Yeah. But, by the way, you're not coming to Chiller this weekend, are you? I know you said
I might be. I might be there. I might be there.
I'm only going Friday, Saturday, by the way.
If I go, it's going to be like Friday or Saturday. I'm not.
Let's be in touch, because I literally bought a helmet, an actual American Army helmet, to get signed by the MASH cast, and I ordered a hoverboard to get signed by the entire Back to the Future cast.
Dude, I would get there early for that.
I'm getting there. Like I'm getting, I'm gonna have to get in line. I met Christopher Lloyd before. His at Monsamania. Him and Gilbert Gottfried, two of the quietest. I think we spoke about this. Shyest, soft-spoken people, and you never would have guessed. You never would have guessed. I think I told you that. Yeah, I think I told you that. But yeah, he's such a nice guy, Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. Unfortunately, Christina Ricci had to cancel, so and I really just had 2 canvases made for her to sign, and it was cool. It was also an Addams Family reunion because the 2 of them were in it, and
Yeah.
I keep on forgetting that. And I've been talking with the Soup Nazi, Larry Thomas, this week because he's going to be there.
Yeah.
Who
Chiller's
signed
always
up.
a blast.
Yeah, I haven't been there since 2018.
I go all the time.
Yeah, I know. I haven't been there since.
Has been going there, I think, since its inception. So I always go.
Really, last time I was there with Scout Taylor Compton and Christina Klebe, and what's his name, who passed away, the one who made the Kill Bill swords. I had him sign 2 Kill Bill swords, and he was, and I sold them, and that was before he passed away. But he was also, he couldn't. Yeah, him, and I think he couldn't speak a lot of English, and neither did the guy who played Godzilla, the original 1954 Godzilla at Mansamania. But yeah, he could barely lift his arms. Like when he went like this, it was just, you give these people a lot of credit. I remember Kevin McCarthy, one of my earliest chillers, 2006 must have been, or 2007. Kevin McCarthy was there. You know Kevin McCarthy?
Yeah.
He was in a walker, could barely sign, but he left early. I give him such credit. Oh, hold on. CJ says, great show, Gabe Marcus. I'm looking forward to watching your films. Okay. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
We're almost at 2 hours. I told you, can I tell you something? The only other person this has happened to, I think, was Ari, because he and I could talk forever. I think he said he could only do like 45 minutes, or half an hour. We ended up going over an hour. Yeah. But I knew this was gonna. For some people, when I know them and we could talk a mile a fucking minute and still keep on going, I knew this was gonna happen. But I want you to end with plug your films and your any sites, for whether it be your social media sites or any Instagram sites for the movies you're working on, or Facebook sites, anything and everything that you can share, website, whatever you have that you would like to share.
Perfect. So with Night of Living Dead, you can sign up to the emailer through livingdead2.com. And that's the best way to get the latest info of anything. The instant we drop something, the instant we hint at something, boom, it goes right to that email. So go to livingdead2.com. Follow Living Dead 2 on Twitter and also on Instagram. You can also follow me on Instagram, which is just Marcus Slabine.
And also the Dark Offerings has a page, right? I believe.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, they have a Facebook page. So it's just the Dark Offerings. Mm-hmm. Also, you can check out the Dark Offerings on right now. It's
on Amazon.
On Amazon Prime for I think $1.
$1 to rent, and I think not expensive to buy either. And it's good. Exactly. It's good. It's it's really a horror fans like. It's like a nostalgic pandemic shot. During the pandemic, it was very, very. I think it's just great. What we did with it.
That means the world.
I didn't finish it yet, but I'm
I'm excited to hear what you think once you finished it.
Either I'll talk to you this week, or if you tell me you'll be at Chiller, I'll tell you over at Chiller.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll get drinks or something.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Do I have any other? Then there's I guess follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. On that's all that.
Stream. What about Stream?
Stream Franchise. That's I think it's at Stream Franchise. On
they have a Facebook page, I think, too. I believe
so. Yes. Yeah. If not, you just go to Fuzz on the Lens, which is which is the production company, which is all the boys.
Your family team.
Yeah. Yes. The fam. And I know that I'm probably gonna get a text from someone being like, "Oh, you forgot this page." I'm gonna be like,
"We've all forgot. We've all done that." What of an Amnesia Vu in the same time? Amnesia and Deja Vu at the same time. Did I say Amnesia Vu? Amnesia and Deja Vu at the same time. I've forgotten this before.
Midnight. Yeah, you're fine.
I've forgotten this before. And then there's also Deja Vu. I've heard this shit before. Or that's now going to be the joke about the Amber Heard, like Amber Turd. Deja Vu. I've heard this story before. Yeah, this motherfucker. Did you see that thing I posted with the Amber Heard and the dog's like, this motherfucker's shitting.
No, but
this motherfucker's spitting. This motherfucker's shitting. Is what the spin. It's like, oh my god, people are having too much. It's like as soon as it happens, the
Yeah,
memes
it's
that
too much.
pour out.
I can't deal with the internet sometimes.
Facebook is not about me or you. It's about memes. That's one of
Yeah,
mine.
that's
Anyway,
that's all social media is.
selectively social media, not even anti. Because you're on as long as you're on social media, it's not anti. You're just social with someone. Anyway, I know it's latte. I mean late. They say better late than pregnant. But I will. Thank you for everything, Marcus. We will be
Thank
in
you so much
touch.
for having me on,
For
brother. I
sure, man.
appreciate
And now Michael has to live up to your appearance. Now he's gonna try to go for
it.
he might
Michael has to now do
2 hours, two
hours.
and a half hours, and with a kid. He just had a kid, so
Yes, he
he's gonna
did.
he's gonna piss off his wife for us. I don't know if I could do that to him
Oh, you
because if
have to.
like
You have
so
to do it.
I'm gonna make sure he covers. I'm gonna tell him cover the what's it called, cover the not the round, uh cover her shift, cover 2 shifts for her
Cover two
before
shit.
you're shit that well it might be more than that, so I'll say cover 2 shifts, which could be the equivalent of 4 shifts. I'm not I don't know because I'm not there, because I don't know simple math, because I don't think math applies here, simple math. But he will have to go to, I'll hold him to 2 hours or 2.5 hours. If he's drunk, I think like we were when we were at Monster Mania, should I not have said that? Maybe it'll go that much. Maybe I'll tell him to drink a little before, but then he might pass out and leave all those shifts and shits to his wife. But I don't want to do that to her, so I'm gonna tell him, you know what, and for the courtesy of your wife, because I'm gonna have to hold you this per Marcus. I'm sorry, I'm throwing you under the bus. Per Marcus's request and my request, I'll put some of my Jewish guilt in there. We're holding you to 2 hours or 2 to 2.5 hours. So cover both shifts before the show, so your wife doesn't kill you by sunrise. Um,
I love it.
okay,
I love
let's
it.
leave it. I'll tell him that. Anyway, dude, it was a pleasure. This is a lot of this was a lot of fun. I needed this, and dude, I cannot wait for Night of the Living Dead 2 stream or
Can't wait. Yeah.
Terrifier 2, dude. And I'm gonna finish Dark Offerings, and I am probably, though I'm 3 movies behind that I meant to review on here, I will do Dark Offerings first. I meant to review one, the Batman.
Appreciate that.
Two is The Cursed. I don't know if you've seen that. One of the best werewolf movies I've ever seen. The Cursed.
No.
It's in theaters, but they also have it streaming. It's like 25. It was like 25 whatever, but it was one of the best werewolf movies I've ever seen. Like literally, The Cursed, and it's like it's being raved about by fans. And the other film, I fucking forgot what it was. But but I'm gonna do Dark Offerings first. And but if I don't do it tonight, I'm doing it tomorrow because I still got a lot to do tonight. But what I'm gonna do
Do your
first
thing,
is
brother.
eat my third or fourth dinner over Dark Offering. So hopefully, good thing I have a strong stomach. So I'm not, I'm not desensitized to horror, except in real life. The real life, people say horror desensitizes us. It really doesn't. The real life horror grosses me out, like, and
Yeah.
upsets me. The news is more horrifying than horror movies. I went. My rabbi had me film. One of these rabbis hired me to film like a thing where they shecht one of these goats and like stuff for the. And I'm like, I cannot stomach this. And I went inside because I just couldn't do it. It's like real life horror and movie horror. It's not the same. And
Yeah.
people who say that horror movies desensitize you have no clue what they're talking about. I know people who've worked as EMTs, who went literally were on the site for terrorist attacks, like as EMTs, and they've seen stuff, and they've seen stuff that would terrify me, but they can't even watch horror movies. It's just people. I can't fathom that, but then again, they can't fathom why I watch this stuff. But they see, some people see this stuff every day in their field, and I would be grossed out. But they would be grossed out watching horror. Like, it's just an interesting way how the human mind processes things with what you've been around a lot of your life. Anyway, I know we can go on forever.
Yeah.
But dude, have a great night. It's a pleasure
You
having
do as
you on.
well, my
And
friend.
everybody's writing me how this was such a great show. So
Oh,
like,
that's
and like,
awesome.
yeah, this is just, yeah. CJ said that even from the beginning, and I haven't posted all the comments, but everybody, I'm sorry, but I was like, but yeah. Anyway, we'll talk soon, man. And I'm gonna go through my midnight Fright Night-esque film. Thank you, Sean. Have a great night, Marcus. I'm ending it now.
Cheers.
3, 2, 1, and I'm terrible at